in the bustling halls of Evergreen University, where laughter echoed off the brick walls and the scent of fresh coffee lingered in the air. Alex first saw her, Emily. She was a whirlwind of energy, with her curly brown hair bouncing as she debated. Passionately in class, her eyes sparkling with intelligence and warmth. Alex, a quiet computer science major, sat 3 rows back, his heart pounding not from the lecture on algorithms, but from the way she smiled at the world. It was 2013, and in that moment, he fell in love. But Alex was not the type to speak up. Shy, introspective, and burdened by a fear of rejection, he kept his feelings locked away, content to admire her from afar. Little did he know that silence would stretch on for a decade. Over the years, their lives intertwined in subtle ways. After graduation, they both landed jobs in the same city, Alex as a software developer, Emily as a marketing executive. They weren't best friends, but they orbited each other in a shared social circle. Alex made sure of that. He volunteered for group outings, always positioning himself as the reliable friend who fixed everyone's tech issues or offered a listening ear. Emily, with her infectious laugh and kind heart, never seemed to notice the depth of his devotion. She dated a string of men-charming but fleeting relationships that left her disappointed. Alex was there for each heartbreak, offering awkward hugs and sage advice, all while swallowing the bitter truth that he could never be the one to make her happy. By year 3, Alex had mastered the art of silent sacrifice. He remembered the day Emily called him in tears after a bad breakup. It was a rainy evening in 2016, and she showed up at his apartment door, mascara streaked down her face. "I just needed someone to talk to," she said, collapsing onto his couch. Alex brewed her favorite chamomile tea and listened as she poured out her heart. He wanted to tell her then how he had loved her since that first lecture, how he would never hurt her like those other guys. But the words stuck in his throat. Instead, he handed her a tissue and said, "You're stronger than this, Em. You'll find the right person." She hugged him tightly, thanking him for being such a good friend. That night, as she slept on his couch, Alex sat in the dark, watching her breathe, his heart aching with unspoken words. As the years ticked by, life moved on. In year 5, Emily got engaged to a man named David, a confident lawyer who seemed perfect on paper. Alex attended the engagement party, forcing a smile as he watched them dance. He raised a glass during the toasts, but inside he was shattering. "To Emily and David," he murmured, his voice barely audible over the cheers. That night, he drove home alone, the radio blaring to drown out his thoughts. He considered confessing then, crashing the party and declaring his love like some romantic hero from a movie. But fear held him back. What if she laughed? What if she pitied him? So he stayed silent, burying his feelings deeper, like seeds that never saw the sun. By year 7, Emily's marriage had crumbled. David had cheated, and Emily was left picking up the pieces. Alex was the first person she called. "I don't know what to do," she sobbed over the phone. He drove to her place immediately, helping her pack boxes as she moved out of their shared apartment. They spent hours talking, her head on his shoulder as she vented about trust and betrayal. Alex wanted to say, "I'm here, Emily. I've always been here. Choose me." But he didn't. He was her rock, her constant, and he feared that confessing would shatter the fragile comfort they had. Instead, he helped her start over, watching as she rebuilt her life with the same resilience that had drawn him to her in the first place. Through it all, Alex's life was a tapestry of quiet longing. He dated occasionally, but no one ever measured. Up to Emily, his apartment was filled with reminders of her photos from group trips, a mug she had given him as a joke, even a scarf she had left behind one winter. He lived for the moments they shared, coffee runs, late-night study sessions that had evolved into casual dinners, and the occasional text that made his day. But he never crossed the line. 10 years passed in a blur of unfulfilled dreams, and Alex convinced himself that this was enough. Loving her in silence was safer than risking everything. Then, in the summer of 2023, everything changed. It was their college reunion, a weekend event at Evergreen University that Alex had almost skipped. He wasn't one for nostalgia, but Emily had begged him to come. "It'll be fun, Alex. We can relive the old days," she had said over the phone, her voice light and excited. Reluctantly, he agreed, booking a hotel room and steeling himself for the pain of seeing her again. The reunion started innocently, enough old friends catching up, sharing stories over drinks. Emily looked radiant, her hair shorter now, her smile unchanged. She introduced him to people as "my oldest friend," and Alex felt the familiar sting in his chest. But as the night wore on, something shifted. They found themselves alone on a bench outside the old lecture hall, the same one, where he had first fallen for her. The air was thick with the scent of blooming jasmine, and the stars twinkled above like distant witnesses. Emily sighed, staring at the ground. "Alex, can I tell you something?" she asked, her voice soft. He nodded, his heart racing. "Anything, Em?" "I've been thinking a lot about the past 10 years. About how you've always been there for me. Through breakups, moves, everything. You're the one constant in my life." She paused, biting her lip. "I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I think I might have feelings for you. More than just friendship. But I was always too scared to say anything, afraid it would ruin what we have." Alex froze, the world tilting on its axis. For a decade, he had imagined this moment, but never like this. He had prepared speeches in his mind, ways to confess his love, but now the words evaporated. "Emily, He trailed off, his hands trembling. This was his chance, the moment he had waited for. Gathering every ounce of courage, he took a deep breath. "I've loved you for 10 years. Since that first day in class. I never said anything because I was terrified of losing you. But I love you, Emily, more than anything." Tears filled her eyes as she looked at him, a mix of surprise and relief washing over her face. "You do?" "Oh, Alex, I think I've known for a while, deep down. But I was with David, and then life got in the way. I'm so sorry I didn't see it sooner." They sat there under the stars as the weight of 10 years of silence lifted. Alex reached out, taking her hand, and for the first time, it felt right. They talked until dawn, sharing the moments they had both held back, the missed opportunities, the what-ifs. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. There were no grand gestures or sweeping declarations. But in that quiet confession, they found something. Real dot as the sun rose, Alex realized that silence had been his prison, but love had set him free. And Emily, with her hand in his, whispered, "Better late than never." They walked back to the reunion hand in hand, ready to start a new chapter one where love was no longer silent dot in the end. It wasn't a dramatic event that changed everything. It was a simple truth finally spoken. And for Alex, that was more than enough.